blowing, and I'm pissing off the neighbors. Whether homegrown or imported, we feeling shorted, cause we waiting on our paper. So next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah, you don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the motor city, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the motor city, everything ain't pretty, but it's love though. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to Spike Kool-Aid for Wednesday, the 30th of October, 2024. And like I said, man, I'm gonna keep this show going. I think it's a necessary show to have. Allows us to talk about things in real time that I can't do on the other channel. Also, we hit 3,500 subscribers, man, on this channel here. This channel is going to be multifaceted when it comes to Detroit. I'm just trying to find the right creators, and it's tough to find. But as soon as I can start paying people, then I'm sure they'll run and flock to what we got going on. Shout out everybody in the chat, in the comment section real quick. I am going to get right to it, and I'm going to say something real quick. But before I do that, let me shout out Los Angel, Eddie, what's going on? TCKG, We Get Smith, ESPN Insider offers potential asking price. Yes, we're going to talk about that as well. Did anybody hear Kirby was saying something about a trade coming on Instagram? Congratulations. Thank you, Eddie. Google, my bet is no moves, just he picked someone up in free agency. Well, Jamin Davis, I was going to make a video about him as maybe a potential depth piece, but he is now on a team. I forgot what team he's on. All right, so I want to get straight into what's up, SB Lions. I want to get straight into something, and I'm going to put a disclaimer out here. This is going to be a very sensitive subject, and I want if you watch this back on playback, I'm not going to have any tolerance for anything racial, anything. If you come at me for any type of thing, for my opinion, I'm going to hide you, because I am going to say something that a lot of people are not going to like. Okay, so we're going to get right into it, and everybody know what's going on, but I'm going to get right into it. All right. So unless you were living under a rock yesterday, you know what happened. Jameson Williams news comes out about J-Mo. I do not want to talk about this anymore unless there is some new information on it. But almost a month ago, Jameson Williams, we heard that he had been, quote, arrested on gun charges. And we said, nah, that's not what happened. Nobody was talking about it in the local media. Maybe nobody knew. Maybe nobody was privy to talk about it. But it wound up being true that he was almost arrested. And according to the letter of the law, he might have should have been. Now, I don't want to go down this road because I saw yesterday that this is a hostile spot. That's why football is about football. It's not about politics. It's not about law. It's about playing a game, watching our team coming together as a people, as a fan base. But nope, that's not what happened yesterday. So you can't have an opinion, right? But the reason I said I would block people Because if I get caught any type of racial type of thing because I'm not, quote, supporting another black man, I'm not having that at all. I was born in Detroit. I live just outside the city. My mother lives in Detroit. I walk around Detroit. So I'm a Detroiter through and through. Where do you think the song came from? But we got to talk about the reality. Here's the reality. According to the law, Jameson Williams and his brother broke it. They broke it. Are they being used as examples? Maybe. Should the police officers did what they did? That's up to them. That's up to them. That's the control that they have. Should they have used discretion? That's up to them. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to relieve Jameson Williams of his responsibility. Now, according to what I've found out over the past 24 hours or 12 hours, if you are in the state of Michigan and you have a weapon that is not registered to you, but someone else cannot have that weapon concealed for you, all right? And with the weapon being under the seat, that is where the charge comes in. Jameson Williams' brother has a certain responsibility, but the letter of the law says, and here's the problem. That's the problem, the letter of the law. So is there injustice in the world? Yes. Am I a part of it? Yes. Have I been through my own adversity? I have. Have I watched it happen? I have. However, that does not excuse Jameson Williams from taking responsibility, and that's what I will not take from him. He is a grown man who needs to be responsible. Now, all I got on Twitter yesterday is he didn't break any laws. Well, turns out he did. He did. Now, you can blame the reporter. You can blame the cop. You can blame you can blame the judge. You can blame whatever happens after this. But one thing, I don't understand how Jameson Williams is getting a pass. If he goes and he takes care of business. So if I am a superstar athlete, a black man, I'm going to cross all my T's and dot all my I's. That's what I'm going to do. You know what I do when I'm driving? One reason, okay? And I don't know how many of y'all have been bailed out because of this. I have a CDL, Class B. If you have a CDL in Michigan, I don't know how it works everywhere else, but in Michigan, you get double everything. So if you run a red light and you gonna get a ticket, you get double fines, you get double points. So for you, it might be 12 points into your license is suspended. For me, it's 12, but it's really like 6, right? So you know what I do? And this has saved me a number of times because I am who I am and what I am. If I'm on the street, you know what I do? My family hates riding with me. Cruise control. 25 miles an hour is when usually your car can start cruise control. I'm on it. They hate it. I'm on it. You know how many times I've been saved driving and I'm like, there's nothing they can do because guess what? I know how fast I was going. It was on cruise control. The freeway, the side street, the main street, if my cruise control breaks, I'm in trouble. That's what I do to protect myself, right? So I'm not, as a 45-year-old man who is the same as J-Mo, I'm not going to absolve him of responsibility. And I think that's a problem. There's a lot of problems in where we live, and I don't want to go all that. I don't want to, because this is a slippery slope, right? But at the same time, you got a guy who doesn't know he can't bet on the premises. You don't know that. You don't know how you got suspended. You don't know that. Okay, cool. Now you're at this. What are we doing here? You don't know that it can be concealed? At some point, responsibility has to be taken. See, I'm from the old school, bruh. I was born in 1979, Generation X. I'm in between hard-nosed baby boomers and millennials. That's where I'm at. So I understand the hard. I understand the soft. One thing that I'm not as a man is a nurturer. I understand that. My wife, my son's mother, they're nurturers. They can be hard. My mother is a nurturer. I'm not that. Most men aren't. So I'm like, yo, you got to get yourself together. I don't want my son to go through what I had to go through, but at the same time, I know I have to teach him how to be a man, right? So I'm not saying Jameson Williams' parents have failed in any way. I'm saying that there is a point where you have to take responsibility for your actions. I still take them right now. Here's a case in point. You get with a person and you have a child with that person, and it's not the best idea. It wasn't the best decision, but you made it. And guess what? You got to deal with it. And for the best of your child, you have to make that work somehow. You have to still give your child the best. Was it there? You made the decision, right? So I'm not going to dwell on this because the Lions have spoke about it. We got to figure out what's happening with him. Okay. Is he going to be let off or whatever? Is the reporter, did they violate any rules? But I will not be called anything because I support responsibility. That's it. That is it. Jameson Williams has to take responsibility. He gets suspended. Okay, did the NFL do the right job teaching him? Maybe. As far as I know, they got a symposium. They probably got handbooks on this stuff. Okay, cool. Now you get suspended because you don't know what you put in your body? Okay. Shouldn't you know? Shouldn't you know? Unless your food was spiked, shouldn't you? Or maybe it was a whole prescription thing. Okay, work it out, figure it out. Make sure it don't happen again. Cool. Why? Because your team needs you. So now this happened before the suspension. So like I said, man, sometimes I realize that no matter what the bubble that I live in when it comes to NFL content and YouTube and stuff like that, it's still real life out here. It's still real life, man. And if you have an opinion, if somebody voices it, especially when it comes to these rights and all this other stuff, you know what I'm saying? I think it's funny. You got this amendment, but you got that amendment. You got this amendment. You got freedom of speech amendment. But when I give my opinion or somebody doesn't agree or wants to hold Jameson Williams responsible, then they're not allowed to talk. Lions said they know about it. They have no further comment. Neither do I. I'm done. I'm done talking about it. I voiced my opinion. And like I said, as a man of a certain color living in a certain city, we can't stand for what's right all around the board. I'm not in there. Everybody has responsibility in this. But at the same time, it starts with J-Mo. Don't put yourself in that situation. Superstar athlete, go get the credentials. Do what you got to do. All right. Protect your legacy. That's why I use cruise control. Because no matter laser, radar, or whatever, and get you a dash cam too. All of that stuff as protection. So I cover my T's. I cross my T's. I dot my I's. Why? Because I have to. Okay. So all I'm asking for the young man is do the same thing. Do the same thing. You got a family. Cross your T's, dot your I's. If you're going to take any risk with this was risky because maybe that he forgot and he put it under the seat. And at that point is where they went wrong from what I understand. So just take that out the way. Go get that. Go get what you need, bruh. And yeah, you live in Detroit. You know where I live? Yeah, you know where I grew up? I grew up where you live. So anyway, I'm not talking about this anymore. That's it. Let me know your thoughts. Be respectful in the comment section. Everybody has an opinion. Hopefully you respect mine. All right. Let me see. Where we at? We getting Smith. Okay, as far as the Zadarius Smith stuff, I see Jeremy Fowler, 6th round pick. That's what I thought he was going to go for anyway. I don't think the Detroit Lions would give up any more for that. We also, wouldn't it be ironic if we trade for Donovan Peoples? We traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones for the same exact 6th round pick, like the 6th round pick, and then we get a guy that we actually can need for a 6th round pick. Did anybody hear Kirby say something? Okay, trade. What up? Speaking facts, captain practice squad will be searching for other teams. I guess I left at a good time yesterday. I avoided the politics or racism. Yeah, it's just the thing is, and Appliance says, can we talk football? We sure can. But this is where like it becomes part of it, bro. And that's why we don't talk about politics. We don't talk about this stuff. But this is another thing too. Like this is a distraction, right? We want to talk about football, but we can't. But this guy is a football player who plays for our team. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, you know what I mean? Anyway, I had to make a video about it. I addressed it. Like I said, man, I will never be told what I am. I am not. It's tough. It's tough, y'all. This being like making videos, making content, voicing your opinion on anything is, and anyway, I have avoided certain dates. I have avoided even speaking certain things because I don't want to go down that road, right? A couple years ago, it was involving a certain, virus that was going around, a epidemic, a pandemic. And if you did this, then so all this other stuff, I try to strategically say certain things so we don't trigger that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I can mention something and start something in the comment section, and now I can't. I'm like, dang, man, I shouldn't have said that, right? So anyway, I feel like he's an athlete. He's above the law, don't you know? Hey, Nick, what's good, man? So here's what I think, and I'll let it go. I think they're trying to use him as an example. I don't know if somebody got a grudge against him or whatever, but I watched something today, and it was very kind of disheartening. And this is the part where I guess it gets tough because I realize that we talk about football, and football is like the movies. It's like not reality, right? It's a certain reality, but it's not the full reality. It's escapism in a way. But unlike most movies, when you leave, you're not super sad if your team lose, right? Titanic was one, right? You leave super sad. You watch movies, you crying or whatever, you sad, you think about it for the rest of the day or the week or whatever. But football is different. It's different. It's like not only is it escapism, but it's also a family dynamic, a city dynamic. This is so much more than a game. And but what I realize is that at the end of the day, we still people. We still people, and we mean and we nasty. And the truth will come out when there's some type of hostility. That's it. It will come out, right? So anyway, so ultimately, J-Mo is being stupid, broke the law, but due to the high profile of the involved case, will get a pass. Nothing new there. He'll be slapped on the wrist and will be better. You know what, Alex? And that's what I hope. Just learn, bro. I was 22 once, right? Making dumb decisions. But my thing is, I know that the NFL has certain things in place to help these young cats not go down the road that they can't recover from, relationships to financial advice, all that stuff. Maybe they need to add this in too, because it could have been. I mean, this could have ended a lot of ways, right? It could have ended it way worse than this. So anyway, we'll move on. Came out and said we don't know the full details. No, we don't know the full details. But if I'm thinking what you saw applying AP, I'll just call you AP. The letter of the law, which is here's something, and I'll say this and I'll move on. Right, my dad was a Michigan State trooper, and the power that is given to these human beings, there is a letter of the law. Okay, I've had to deal with it a ton. All right, not necessarily from my dad, but there's a letter of the law. There are so many laws that you don't know you violate every single day. So many. Did you know if you get over and you don't change, put on a turn signal, you are breaking the law, right? You can be following too closely. It is a bunch. You think about it. Why are all these laws in place? Why did they put all of these things? And you might have those police officers that want to follow the letter of the law. And like I said, that's why I don't want to go down this too much, because it starts going down a deeper rabbit hole of what's right, what's wrong, all that, and gets here. But there's a lot of letter of the laws and a lot of discretion. And that's why the attorney said a lot of this is up to the discretion. I'll say this. So back when I was probably around J-Mo's age, there was a situation where I had some things that I wasn't doing properly, right? And I was driving to work. And so got pulled over, got a ticket. I was like, dang, So what was wrong, I couldn't fix within a day. So it was something, not like something major, but it was something like a broken tail light. You know what I'm saying? A broken tail light is a violation in Michigan anyway. A broken tail light, you can get a ticket. So I'm driving to work, get a ticket, come home like, dang, I got this ticket, whatever. So the next day I take the same exact route. Got pulled over again, got a ticket. Wow, for the same thing. Dang, okay. Third day. You think I was smart, I would take a different way. There's no way I get a ticket a third day. A third day, bruh. I'm taking the same path. I get a ticket a third day. This time, they were waiting on me. It was two of them. They were waiting on me. got a ticket. The fourth day, I, took a different route. Eventually got the problem fixed and paid my fines, right? So anyway, letter of the law. So, but I had to take some responsibility too. I put myself in that situation, not by taking the path I took, but by not getting the problem fixed. So anyway, this is about responsibility for me more than anything else. It's about the compelling situations with Jameson Williams. I'll just say this and I'll move on. We'll move on and talk football. There are a 69 Detroit Lions. 69. You only hear about one negatively. That's what I'm getting at. Enough. You hear about one negatively. You don't hear about 7. You don't hear about the 16 on the practice squad. You hear about 1. That's my whole point. Perception versus reality. So anyway, let's move on. All right. So the Detroit Lions, and that's why I didn't put J-Mo on the cover, because I wasn't going to spend a lot of time talking about him. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Somebody is. Okay. We got our official crew for the Packers. Oh my God. We got Cleet Blakeman. Dang, we got Cleet, bro. Shoot. He did a game of ours earlier this year. It's going to be tough. All right. So here's the deal. Lions have not made a move. And Dan Campbell was on the 97 won a ticket yesterday, which was Tuesday, the 29th. And he basically was like, y'all made a big deal out of nothing. Then me jumping up and down. He said, Dave Burkett asked me another question, and I gave him the answer he wanted. I'm like, dang, Dan, hey, tell us how you really feel, bro. So the Lions, here's what I want to know. I want y'all to tell me. Do you think the Lions can go to the Super Bowl with the current roster? Okay, do you think they can win the Super Bowl with the current roster? I think they can, but I think everything has to go right. And I think Dan Campbell kind of alluded to that in one of the press conferences. I think we can get there. I think we can win, but I think the road is tough. And so we've been talking about a trade deadline move. Now the Detroit Lions are pretty much out of loaner people. If they do make a move for somebody that we've been talking about, then it's probably going to be somebody with at least 1 year left on their deal. So I've been seeing a lot of stuff come up about Trey Hendrickson. We've moved on from Max Crosby. We've moved on from Myles Garrett because those are definitive no answers. So now all of a sudden, Trey Hendrickson is back in the mix. I don't know if the Bengals are ready to let go of Trey Hendrickson. They got a tough schedule. The Steelers now lead the division, and the Bengals, their schedule is division back heavy. So I don't know if they're willing to part with him or Sam Hubbard. Now, I would prefer Trey Hendrickson. And one thing about the Bengals, man, they so smug, man. It's ridiculous. If the offense can carry them, if we can't stop Mahomes, we guaranteed to play a mobile QB in the Super Bowl, unfortunately. Okay, Schiff, so you're saying that we're either going to play Mahomes, Lamar, or is CJ in there as well? Is CJ Stroud in there as well? Our offense, even without J-Mo, can get us there, I believe. However, we need an edge rusher to 100% get us through the playoffs. November 15th is a pretty big day here in Michigan. You could take a good estimate of how things go. Green Bay is number 1 in takeaways. Hopefully it's not a 2023 Thanksgiving Day classic. You know what the crazy thing is, Lupus, is we almost came back. Like it was 29-23, if I remember. They had a big lead, but we almost came back. Oh, Josh Allen. Y'all gonna put, so wait a minute. We think Josh Allen going to the Super Bowl? Y'all really believe that? I'm not sold yet. I'm really not sold that anybody can get past the Chiefs. Cause I believe in NFL narrative, and it looks like the Chiefs, they're trying to push this 3-peat thing. The NFL is trying to push this 3-peat. Here's what I see. I've told you guys this several times. This is what I see. I think it's going to be David versus Goliath, right? I think the Kansas City Chiefs are right now they're the number 1 seed. Even if they're not the number one seed, I think they make the Super Bowl because this is great for NFL storylines. This is great. It's not going to do them any good if they get put out before the Super Bowl. So you got a team. Think of all the money the NFL is going to make over the next, 3 months of a team. When was the last time a team had the possibility of three-peating? What, in the 2000s? Like the 2000s? I list Josh Allen over CJ Stroud right now. Yeah, he hasn't thrown an interception, right? Which is crazy. That's what he does. The Chiefs aren't that good, to be honest. Emerson, not really. They're not. But they got better, though. They got better, right? DeAndre Hopkins makes him better. And we haven't seen him play. Because he didn't play, right? We haven't seen him play yet. So DeAndre Hopkins, or did he? And Josh Uche, they got better. And that's why they got better, because they're trying to three-peat. Count Dooku says, sorry, every Lions fan, but Brad isn't going to do anything just like he did last year and the other year. Knowing him, we'll get a wide receiver because of the J-Mo news. We roll with whoever we got. Well, you know what, Count? I don't think whatever happens with him is going to translate to the field. We've seen people do worse things, and they're still playing right now. Like, they haven't been suspended at all. So I think he's going to be good. I don't think he's going to be suspended at all for this, and I think he'll be back next week. And here's another thing, too. The Lions have an opportunity. I mean, I was a little bit nervous of the Texans. I'm not nervous. I'm not really nervous anymore because CJ Stroud ain't playing to the level he was last year. Then you have the fact that they just lost Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins is not going to be back. So there's two of their receivers that's gone. Like, we can beat this team. If we can keep Jared Goff upright, we can beat this team. Now, that's what we're going to have to worry about, is keeping him upright. The Chiefs' defense is very good. Yes, it is. He had 2 catches. Okay, I've seen 3 games now where the Chiefs didn't play all that well, and there was at least one call that changed the entire game, not wanting to use a ref excuse, but it's a valid at times. Oh, Kira, it's 100% valid. We've seen it almost every game this year. I saw the softest roughing the passer and like flopping should also be in the NFL. You should be able to get fined for flopping. It should be a unsportsmanlike conduct for flopping, and Patrick Mahomes is a flopper. He 100% is. Love the dude, very talented, but he is a 100% flopper. All right, so let's talk about this. It was something I wanted to talk about. Okay, I think I know what it is. All right, so I made a video the other day about Brad Holmes. I think I did pretty good with the thumbnail too. Slapped a little chef hat on him. It was hilarious. Got a lot of feedback from the comment section, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought it was going to be very bad. Whenever you say something negative about Brad Holmes, you usually get a bunch of kickback because of all the stuff that he's done for the team. And I agree that he's done a phenomenal job with this team. But he's done that primarily through the draft, which is what a lot of you guys want, and it's how you build a successful football team. But now you get to the point where it's time to put a little more in. It's time to put a little more. So the question that I've been seeing, and I put this out on Lion Syndicate and on Twitter as well, is what's the difference between this year and last year? As far as it seems like the fan base is more avid to have a pass rusher added when, I have been talking about that for years. I think they are a key of winning big games. When the games count, these are the guys that come through. We've seen it time and time again. Chris Jones, Aaron Donald, game saving, sacks, tackles, whatever the situation, pressure, that this is the guy, this is the position that changes the game. So I'm very big on it. And I think the Detroit Lions have lost that with Aiden, but they didn't really have it as much as they needed before. So the question that I have to you is, what's the difference between this year and last year? If Brad Holmes does not make a move, he's very quiet. Are the Lions waiting on this potential last game? Is it going to be a frantic 48 hours between the last Sunday? And don't forget, there is a Monday night game as well. I don't know who plays Monday, week 9, but I don't think it's anybody that would affect what we do. But Brad has not done anything. The Detroit Lions are super quiet. You got the Chiefs making moves. They trade for Josh Uche. They trade for DeAndre Hopkins, 2 guys that are, yes, not what they once were, but they're still good enough. So if the Detroit Lions don't make a move, how are you going to feel? How are you going to feel? Last year, I think we should have made one. I think if we trade for a guy who can help get to the quarterback, whoever that guy is. Now, Chase Young is falling off a cliff. I know a lot of y'all do not like him. I don't think he was as bad as he is this year. This year, it's like he doesn't care. Last year, I don't think he was that bad, and the years before. But this year, this year he's bad. He's bad, and I have moved off that train a long time ago. But San Francisco 49ers made a trade. They made several. They also traded for Christian McCaffrey and went to the Super Bowl, right? They didn't win it, and that's where the problem's coming in. What happens if Brad doesn't make a move? We're not going to trade for a wide receiver. He's not going to do that again. But what if he does not make a move for a pass rusher, somebody that can get to the quarterback? How are you going to feel if we don't make the Super Bowl? How are you going to feel if we don't win the division? For me, the ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl. So I don't care how we get there, as long as we do. And I'm going to be honest. If we face the Chiefs, we win. I truly believe that. With DeAndre Hopkins and Josh Uche and Chris Jones, we win. We have the best team in the NFL through the first 8 weeks of the season. The Chiefs cannot hang with it. Their defense is great, but we've went up against good defenses. We got to go against one in week 9 in the Green Bay Packers, and we have had our way. Yes, this team is ready. It's ready. And we need Brad in order to, we need him to see that. He's got to make something happen. Now, I've said this all last year. I love our guys. Grit is our mantra. But I feel like is grit going to be enough to win a Super Bowl? Is that what Brad and Dan feel? You got to be the right fit. You got to be a culture fit. You've got to be a football player. All that stuff is great. But is grit going to be enough to take us over the top? It's enough to win the division. It's enough to get to the NFC title game. Is it enough to win it? Because, see, I don't think it was last year. Now, if you got the right combination of grit guys, maybe Terrion Arnold, who we didn't have last year, right? The emergence of Brian Branch playing even better. They're in his rake straw. Grit guys we didn't have last year. So that could be a thing as well. But that one defensive end we don't have. I think that is the key. And if you can get one who has the grit that you're looking for and football player, all that stuff, that's fine. But you might have to get a little dirty. You might have to get a little dirty to win this thing. You might have to get that fringe guy he might have a little more talent than he has grit. You know what? We'll see if we can make this work. Maybe he's 60% talent, 40% grit. Maybe he's 75% talent, 25% grit. Maybe it's 70-30. Maybe it's 49-51 in favor of talent over grit. Brad Holmes has to do something, because what's going to happen is this dynasty that Detroit Lions fans are thinking we're building toward has not even started yet. You have to win one before you start talking dynasty. Now, Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs built through the draft. They won 1, then they won 2, then they won 3. Now they're trying to win 3 in a row. We could be the next Kansas City Chiefs. We could be that. They had L'Jarius Sneed. They had Chris Jones. They have Travis Kelce. They got some playmakers, some game changers. They got some talented individuals. But they built through the draft. So they're a good model to follow. But guess what they're doing this year? Guess what they're doing? They're also making trades, because now they understand that to keep that edge, they have to get better, right? That's what the Detroit Lions have to do at the edge rusher. So let me know. Do you think that Brad Holmes, if he doesn't make a move, what's the difference between how you felt this year or last year and how you feel this year? I am very curious, because y'all know how I feel. I'm all about, I felt last year was an opportunity. And I'll just say this, and I saw this the other day, and it was a very, very good point. Very good point. Somebody brought up a team that's very reminiscent. They're much like us, except they've been to a Super Bowl. They've never won. The Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals are almost like us. 2-14. They draft Joe Burrow. Within a few years, they're in the Super Bowl. Within a few years, they're not the same team. That window was literally open and shut for the Cincinnati Bengals. Open and shut. The Detroit Lions, could the same thing happen to them? Right? You have to, if you're trying to build for a dynasty, you also, to some extent, have to build for the now as well. It's a tough balancing act to build for the now, but try to build a dynasty. So that window can shut as quick as it opened, it can shut, man. So let me know what you think down below. Would you like to see Brad make a move? Who do you want it to be? And do you think we can go all the way and win everything if he doesn't? Derek, doesn't Z Smith feel like he needs another good pass rush? Wait, doesn't Z Smith feel like he needs another good pass rusher on the side to be elite? I feel like he has passed his prime in regards to being an elite pass rusher. Good afternoon, Josh. What's going on? He is going to draft his next edge rusher in 2025. Do it, Zadarius Smith to Detroit now. See, I don't think Zadarius is a game changer, but we need him right now. We have beat this topic into the ground. Everyone knows the Lions need more DE help. Any decent talent will do for now. Randy, we beat it in the ground, but we still gonna do it. And as far as I saw this yesterday too, and it's like I can't deal. Not you, but I can't deal with any. I'm over the trade talk and all this other stuff. What you mad at me for? NFL did this. The NFL did this. They pushed the trade deadline would have been over, but they got what they wanted. It's super interesting now, ain't it? The Detroit Lions, what are they going to do? They're sitting on their hands. Are they going to do anything? Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs, they make 2 moves in 1 week. Oh, it's getting good now. That's exactly why they did this. So don't be mad at me. You can blame the NFL. I'm not saying you, Randy, but this is exactly what they wanted. So they're getting exactly what they want. Trade. That's all we're talking about. For us, it's defensive ends. Who else is? Carl Granderson, I think his name is. Is he next? Jadeveon Clowney. Oh. Zadarius Smith. We got to talk about him too as well. The O-line is starting to get a little rusty. Yeah, hey, listen, my Taylor Decker video did extremely well yesterday. I didn't think it was going to do that well, but yeah. Christian Mahogany is back. He is not going to be put up for the season, which is good news, but also bad news for potential waive candidates. And we got to talk about who could be waived in the upcoming weeks, because guess who's coming back eventually? It's not right now, but eventually Mr. Martin will come back. Eventually John Kaminsky will come back. Our roster as it sits right now is currently full. It's currently full. 2 people got to come. Who would you waive right now off the 53? You can just throw out whoever you feel. I know it might be hard for you to just name somebody, but who would you waive right now in favor of Broderick Martin or John Kaminsky? It definitely is about the storylines, and we need an edge, period. Stand up, stand pat, and do nothing that doesn't resonate well with the fans. What about this pass rusher from Denver? You're talking about Barron, I think his name is. Any news on Kamish? Not at all. Trust me, when I know, you will know, okay? So John Kaminsky and Broderick Martin are on designated to return, all right? Before they even think about coming back, their window has to be open first. So we still are at least 3 weeks away from that. So there's nothing happening with them. Walker is too. What's up, Sag? Look, yesterday I put out a tweet. Yesterday, and I am very flattered that people thought I had an insider, but I was being funny. So if you don't know, Monday, Rico Beard from 97 Won a Ticket. It's a local radio station. Was like, the Detroit Lions have 100% a trade in place. I just can't speak on it. So everybody was roasting them and blah, 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 because nothing happened on Tuesday. And then I put the Detroit Lions 1 trillion% have a trade in place. I just can't speak on it. So I was making fun and, having some fun with what Rico said. And I had people texting me, what do I know? And I'm like, bruh, I don't know nothing. I am a regular dude. I have no inside information. It was kind of sweet, but I'm like, I'm just a regular guy. I don't know. I wish I had some inside information. I don't have any. So when the only difference between you and me is because I got all my notifications on, I might know just a little bit sooner than you. That's it. I got all my Twitter notifications on, but I know what you know when you know. But that's sweet. Only expendable players I see right now is Neiman and Pascal, but both those positions have taken bad hits this year. Yeah, you know what? I could see us waiving. See, I think we waived James Houston. I do. Even though Dan said he did better. I don't know. I think we'd take a chance on that because James would have to get waived, so he would have to clear waiver. So maybe not, because he won't be a part of the team next year. This is it for James Houston. He's done. His time with the Detroit Lions ends in 10 games, just so you know. As long as they have a course of action, I redirect my negativity. Myles Garrett for 2 first rounds and a 6. I hope we do. Honestly, he's too small for what they like on the edge. And that's two. I did see from Eric Schlitt from Pride of Detroit that he believes that the Lions are looking for more of a traditional defensive end, and that's where Zadarius Smith would come in. He's got the size as well. But speaking of Zadarius Smith, let's talk about it. Let me bring up the Jeremy Fowler information because I woke up to this information. So I have, let me find it. I have ESPN Plus. I have like the package deal where you got Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and something else. Let me see. Cooper Kupp isn't going anywhere. Christian McCaffrey. All right. Where is this at? I'm trying to find it. Well, let me go back to Pride of Detroit and see if they have it easier. They might have had it easier set up. Oh, also, I'm considering getting a website as well for the Syndicate. I don't think I'm gonna design it though, but I might have to invest in that. Okay, let's see. Okay. So here's basically what y'all guys said earlier. All right. Let me pull this up. So all right, so as the chat already knows, we've been, quote, beating this topic into the ground. And you can blame Brad Holmes for not addressing it properly. You can also blame the NFL. They pushed the trade deadline back for a week, and we got to deal with it for another week. And with that being said, there's going to be a lot of names that are going to be tied or linked to the Detroit Lions. And Zadarius Smith has been a guy that has been linked for weeks now and has even vocally said that he would like to play for the Detroit Lions. Got a little NFC North revenge on his mind. But what would the compensation be for Zadarius Smith? Well, the first thing that would be hilarious is if we trade with the Browns, knowing that we traded at the trade deadline, and we traded with the Browns at the trade deadline last year. Now, the difference is Zadarius Smith will be an immediate asset to this team, whereas Donovan Peoples-Jones has been a nothing burger. I've heard that word a lot over the last 48 hours. Nothing burger. It's funny. However, what could the Detroit Lions do when it comes to trading for a guy? Zadarius Smith would be ideal for what he can bring, and also his draft compensation, not going to be very high, and his financials are not high at all. Very Brad Holmes-esque. Fits right into the mode that Brad Holmes likes. The only thing about Zadarius is he ain't coming off an injury. But what could the Detroit Lions possibly have to give up? This is coming from Pride of Detroit via ESPN Plus. Says, though Cleveland won't be looking to dump core players, Myles Garrett and such, it could be active if the right opportunities arise. Fowler wrote Wednesday, which is earlier today. A decent day 3 pick for Smith probably would get the job done from what I'm hearing. And as of right now, the Lions have 5 day 3 picks in 2025. They have their original 4th and 5th round picks. They have a 6th round pick that they acquired from the Buccaneers as part of the Carlton Davis trade, and 2 7th round picks, the second of which was acquired from the Cowboys when Detroit traded up to draft Terrion Arnold. Detroit's original 6th round pick was sent to the Browns for Donovan Peoples-Jones. So they got a 6th round pick back. They gave up a 6th round pick in last year's trade deadline. So a 6th round pick for Zadarius Smith, that's doable. That's doable. Okay. Joseph says, I blame Brad for the Lions having the best team in the league. Okay. So Joseph, first of all, had it up to here. All right. Just letting you know. Secondly, all right, you could want whatever you want, and you could be okay with that. I want championships. See, all this stuff is fine. All of this giddy excitement during the season, all of the first seed and the championship, conference games, that's fine. Means nothing if we don't win it. That's where I am. And yes, Brad Holmes is to blame for not properly addressing the pass rush. He's also gets praise for making us one of the best teams in the National Football League. But let me just throw something at you, Joe. The San Francisco 49ers, you want to become them? Is that going to be good enough for you or anybody else in the chat? Oh, we made the last three out of the last 5 Super Bowls, and we get beat by the same team. If the Lions don't make the Super Bowl this year, guess what? That's regression. No matter how you paint it, that's going backwards. See, that's what I love about this whole thing, because I see the fans with the lenses on, right? There's only one goal at the end of the year, winning the Super Bowl. For the Detroit Lions, their goal is to make a Super Bowl. I mean, obviously they want to win it, but if they get there, that's called progression, right? Regression would be getting eliminated anytime before that. No matter what you say or how you look at it, that's what the facts are. Now, you can paint the picture, because guess what? You know what? I'm about to get real morbid here, all right? I watched Shaq's podcast. You know what he said? Shaq is rich, famous, dominant. He's 52 years old. See, this is how I look at the Detroit Lions. He's 52 years old. He said some comedian, he went to a show and the comedian was like, hey, where are the 30-year-olds? Make some noise. Where are the 40-year-old? Make some noise. He said, where the 50-year-olds at? You know, you got 20 summers left. 20 summers left. Hit him like a ton of bricks. And he like, let me make the most of it. So while you or anybody else, Joe, can wait and, yay, we did it. Yay, we got there. Hey, for me, that ain't good enough. That's not good enough. 0-16, right? First team in NFL history. The only team to not go to a Super Bowl from the NFC. Okay, so while I guess getting better is enough for you, it's not for me. It's not. I mean, it's cool, but I'm trying to win it all, period. And by Brad Holmes not addressing the pass rush properly, he is helping to that happen. Now, we going into Brad Holmes trade for, now everybody sees what I saw last year. Everybody sees it. We need a pass rusher. See, that's the thing. We've always needed one. We always needed one. Marcus Davenport was not it, but he got hurt. So now he's really not able to help. DJ Reader is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's got 1 sack, right? But he's eating double teams. With DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil, we still can't get to the quarterback. So imagine that. So yes, I will praise Brad Holmes for all the good he's done for this team, but I will actually blame, or 100% blame, because guess what? Almost doesn't count. And I don't know about you, but I don't know how many summers I got left. And I'm trying to see what the Lions do in the meantime. I want them to be in the history books for the right reason. So you can do your thing. I'm going to do mine. Hey, it's all good, bro. No, I'm not a super fan. Because if I was a super fan, I would have won Fan of the Year, which I didn't. And I shouldn't have applied. Somebody sent me something, was like, you need to apply. I was like, no, I would never win. And then it was like the last day, and I applied, and I didn't get it. And I was just like, why did you apply, Derek? You know you're not going to win. You don't spend enough money. You're not going to win Fan of the Year. To win Fan of the Year, you got to, so I'm not a super fan. Super fan is at every game. Nope, I'm not a super fan. I'm just a fan. I'm also a realistic fan. All right. I've always been. That's why I think that I'm loved and hated in this community at the same time. You know, people think they have a idea of who I am as a person because of my thoughts on Twitter and this football team. And I do not worship anybody on this team. But I feel like there's a little bit of that going on too. Right. So I don't know, but you see it. I don't worship the Detroit Lions. I don't idolize the Detroit Lions. I'm a fan of the Detroit Lions. I don't even look at myself as a fan simply because the word fan means fanatic, right? So I'm not a fanatic. If you think of fanatic, you think about people who just are maybe not all there, right? So I look at myself as a Detroit Lions supporter, but I'm not a fanatic. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to fight nobody over this team. Before my son was born, I used to lose sleep. And I'm not going to lie, bro. When Hutchinson got hurt, I didn't sleep that whole night. You would have thought I knew him. when Hutch got hurt, I was up all night. I did not sleep at all. I just kept thinking about him, right? So I do feel like they're family and we don't even know them. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what I feel. And I feel like, I don't know. But for me, football is more than the game. It's for more. And I think because of what the city has been through and what Detroit is, we deserve a champion. Like, I mean, if you start to look at the history of the Detroit Lions, we're in there for everything bad. You know what I'm saying? First team to lose 16 games. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they lost 14, then they lost 26 in a row. I get it, but we were the first 16-0 team, right? We set that. So for me, it's like it's time to be more. Sports. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. All right, you said you work. What time you leave for work, bro? What time do you leave for work? Do my Packers have a chance against the Lions? Absolutely. Hutch needs a Starsky. I like that. That's for the over 30, correct? Over 30, bro. Man, that's like over 40, bro. Okay, 2:30 Eastern time. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. You got okay. Here, do this. All right, because I got an appointment at 3:30 myself. So we'll be off in a few minutes. We'll be off in about 10, 15 minutes. So email, all right. Sports Syndicate brand at yahoo.com. Email that and just say, hey, it's me from YouTube, right? I'm going to send you a link if you got time in the next 10, 15 minutes because we might as well get this out the way as soon as possible. So it'll only take about 10, 15 minutes, bro. And then if we need to talk more, we can set something up. You don't think Arden Key would be a good fit? Okay, so here's the thing, Bronson. At this point, I would take anybody. Like, I'm not going to complain if we get anybody. I mean it. If we don't make a move, then I'm gonna be mad. But if we could go get Bruce Irvin. I'm being dead serious. I would prefer us to. Dan Campbell said if they're good, they're not going to be willing to, be giving up. The team, they're not going to give up good players. So that got me thinking that we're going to get like a sidekick. So at this point, we need somebody. I mean, look, Bruce Irvin got a sack. Bruce Irvin turns 37 Friday. Bring him in. Bring him in. Lions going to get beat, Packers and Texans, but still need a pass rush. Okay, so T, you done already conceded defeat. We can beat by both of them? That's crazy. It don't even be Garrett or Crosby. We just need something. Crosby want to be Damian Lillard 2.0. Hey, yep, I am on the way to my doctor's appointment right now. Yeah, something. When Hutch got hurt, I was sick, but then tomorrow came and I realized the Lions were built for success and we were going to win no matter what. You know what, Emerson? I was hurt. I wasn't even thinking about the team. I was thinking about Hutchinson. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's he 24 or I don't know. He's an edge rusher. I don't know, but I was hurt like for him. I wasn't even thinking about the team. I didn't even think one second about the Lions and the team. And I just was like, dude is hurt and seeing him in pain. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, and I think what it was too is I broke my leg. I know what that pain feels like. It is super, super painful. And I think that's why it kind of resonated more with me. No, I said we're going to beat the Packers and Texans. Oh, okay. My bad, bro. Bro, I got Hutch College and NFL jersey. That messed me up. I walked around the sports bar after that, and I went home. We win the next two for sure. You know what? Let's talk about that too, and then we'll end the stream after that. If anything else comes out, let me pull up Twitter, make sure nobody sent me anything. All right. Yeah, we'll be back on Friday as well, though. That's it? Oh, because it's 2 tickets. Man, I just saw somebody posted on Twitter what 1 ticket would have been for me. Nope. See, that's one thing about this. Okay. Crazy to say, but our secondary is actually helping us when we're not getting any pressure because of the takeaways. I don't know, Steve, but we've already talked about that, bro. I'm not talking about that anymore. We started the show talking about that, and I'm done talking about that. How long have you been a Lions fan, Derek? For me, it's been 35 years. I'm now 40. I have been a Lions fan for 30 years. 30 years. I mean, you know, like I wasn't really into him between maybe 10 and 15. And then, of course, it was Barry Sanders. Because when Barry Sanders was drafted, I was 10. When he was like at the peak, it was like I was during that 1991, 92, I'm graduating middle school, about to go to high school, and that's when it started piquing my interest, and it's been like that ever since. Oh, he's at the podium now? Oh. Dang, because we always bring up the podium. All right, hold on. You know what? I started to check to see if he had any live streams today, because you know we always bring in the press conference. Oh, I see it. Thank you. Okay, so what we'll do, this will be part of the show. I think I can buy myself a little more time. Why is this? All right, let me. All right, let me pop this over here. Let me put on the headphones. All right, because today's Wednesday. Now, if I ever get like a copyright strike or claim for this, which the Lions don't really strike for the press conferences, but they do strike if you use footage. Like from there's a content creator. He does highlights and stuff, and the Lions have gave him a strike. So hopefully we don't get to that point. Yeah, so we'll do this and then we'll move on. We'll end the show. AG has been doing a great job this season. Yes, he has. I've got a video about that later today. I have no complaints about AG right now. And listen, y'all, like I said, I'm all about responsibility. And so I want to make something clear. I was on a podcast the other day with Detroit Sports Podcast. And he asked me a question. He said, what would you like to clear up for Lions fans? What would you like to set the record straight on? And I said that I think Brad Holmes is awesome. I think he's awesome. I think he knows how to draft, but he has neglected to properly address the pass rush. Could you really have gotten Will Anderson Jr.? Probably not. You took Hutch. I think the greatest 3 picks of Brad Holmes' tenure is Penei Sewell, in no order. Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, St. Brown. I think those are the greatest 3 picks. You've got Iffy, you've got Kirby, you've got Brian, but the greatest 3 picks, I think, are those 3. So, but we want to win everything. We want to win it all. And yes, 31 teams are disappointed every year, but it's time for Brad to finish the job. He needs to do that. And yes, he's going to. It's his team. Dan said this a couple weeks ago. He said that's Brad's thing. He comes to me and he talks to me. What do you think of this guy? And he doesn't force me to do something I don't want to do. But this is his job. I'm coaching the team. He's building the team. We work together. But my job is to coach. His job is to build. So when it comes to the defensive line, he has not done the best job. That's all I'm saying. And I wanted to set the record straight. Lions are the current NFC North champs. That is true. Pass rush can wake Brad up. Twin Peaks says Smith for a day 3 trade will happen. I agree. However, let me ask y'all a question. Is that enough? Do you think that Zadarius Smith is enough? If we trade for Zadarius Smith, I'm happy. I don't think it's enough, but I'm happy. But you also have Muhammad. Dan liked what he saw. I like what he saw. He said he felt a little more raw about Isaiah. I thought Isaiah did pretty well. You saw it was 69 and 35, but you really saw 69. He was he was in the face. He was in the face of the quarterback a lot. Both of them almost got there. I think they got real potential. Flossie says, I'd rather have Harold Landry, to be honest. I know it really don't matter what the fans think, but are we wrong? No, we not wrong. See, it don't matter what we think, but we not wrong. If they go, I hope they go big. Okay. Who you want? Who you want, bro? Nowowski and Smith are serviceable. JB says, do you think he is waiting to the last minute to get an edge rusher? It depends on who he wants. You know what I'm saying? It depends on who he wants. If he like Zadarius is available now. If he's trying to hold out, I would say Zadarius, anybody from the Titans, they're available now. Maybe it's a deal thing. Who could he be waiting for? Trey Hendrickson? Maybe. I knew this thing was about to go off. Is it possible the Jaguars? Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is I got somewhere to be at 3:30. I should be back by 4:15. He better not do nothing between 3:30 and 4:15. Or, matter of fact, don't do nothing now. Either do it now or after 4:15. Dan said they're on the phones. Yes, they did. Landry is younger than Zadarius Smith and can contribute alongside Hutch. Flossie, very true. But he's not a true DE. But he still, I would take him. I've been making mad videos on him. They're taking a while to start to. Gabe says announcement coming. I doubt it. Yeah. Trayvon Allen or I don't. Trayvon or Allen, I don't mind. I don't think Brad will do anything. It all depends on who we get the best fit for our team. The guy's got to be a dog. He had coach jumping. Maybe you just jinxed it. Who, me? I like to, Aziz. So Aziz Ojulari, the Giants said yesterday morning that they would have to be, quote, blown away to trade those guys, which tells me it was Aziz and somebody else. So Aziz is on the last year of his deal. So that tells me that they plan to extend him or not extend him, but re-sign him. The Giants are going nowhere. So they want to keep that core together, I guess. Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence. Then you got Brian Burns, Aziz. So that's what they said. They would have to be, quote, blown away. We should get Trey, but time is running out. We better get a pass rusher real quick. CT, I think for Trey Hendrickson, I think the Bengals are the holdup because they're the team that always think they got a chance, but this year might be a little different. But the bad news is, for us, is that their division games, they've only played one division game. The other 5 come after the trade deadline, and that's going to determine who goes to the playoffs from their division. Right now, the Steelers are 6-2. Then it's the Ravens, The Browns are done. So if the Bengals win, you know what? Let's see. Let's see. Because Joe Burrow, here's the thing. Joe Burrow said they think they can win 7 out of the last 9, which would put them at 10-7. You're going to have to be 10-7 to make the playoffs. You know what? That would be a good video. I need to remember this video idea. Come on, Dan. Shoot. He laid in a mug. Is it? He laid in a mug, bro. People got things to do, Danny boy. Hey, if I see Brad, we better see Brad Holmes, bro, or something. Come on, man. We got things to do, my brother. All right, so I just had a thought of Okay, teams standing playoff picture. There we go. I don't think Brad is doing anything. I know. Derek, you work hard and you are teaching me. I like your style. Appreciate that, East-West talk. I like that, man. I appreciate you, bro. All right, so right now, the Cincinnati Bengals are the 9th seed. You see what I'm saying? Okay. All right. I'm going to be mad if he goes live while I'm making this video. I'm going to be mad, man. Let me see. This is getting good. Okay, let's see what the Bengals have. And then what I'll do, I'll make the same video on Lion Syndicate. As a matter of fact, I could put this video on both channels. No. All right. So it takes us to that. What's the schedule? The Bengals schedule is what? Later. So check this out. A couple years ago, I went to the Rams game, Lions Rams, and to do that, I had to go, like I went through their website or something I did. So I started getting emails from the Rams, like not staff, but like their PR, not the PR people, but whoever calls you, stuff like that. And they were like, "Are you interested in season tickets?" And I was like, "I'm a Lions fan." It was like, I said, "Yeah, I bought it." Here we go. Finally. I don't understand. Dan, he's already up here. He's already up here, bro. Hold on. Dan is already up here. Pause. Go back. They didn't even do the whole all right, hold on. They didn't even do the whole how they do the starting soon or whatever. Here's Dan.
I've known about all this, and so.
Okay, so they're talking about JMO, but we couldn't hear. This is literally the beginning. We couldn't hear somebody. Hey, somebody need to be fired, bro. We don't even hear the question, but you can tell he's talking about Jameson Williams.
I've known about all this.
Can y'all hear?
So, I know we put out a statement. Kid has been truthful with us, and we're good.
He's facing potentially a third NFL suspension. We don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but that's a possibility. Does this seem like a step back for him, or is there something that's not connecting with him as far as the growth that you guys have talked about?
No, I mean, look, I know that it certainly doesn't look good. I get that, but at the same token, it's just, it kind of all came on here at the same time, and it's really decision making, for him, and and that's where he knows he can be better. Don't put yourself in those situations. He's going to learn from this, grow from it. We've talked about it. And I still think there's been a ton of growth out of this player.
Last week, losing his grip on the rope, but it's still there for him. We've talked about, extending a hand down, but you're not there to, guide him necessarily all the way. Do you think he understands? Does he appreciate, just your perspective, does he appreciate how quickly his football career can end? Do you think he understands that and appreciates it? You communicated that to him?
I think he does. I think he's become more and more aware of that over time, and I think he does. And look, for me, man, I judge people over what's in their heart, and I know what this kid's made of, and and he's worth hanging with, and so. He's going to learn from this. He's going to grow. He'll be better for all this.
Where you guys are, where you guys want to go, certainly he could help you on the field, but is this just an unnecessary distraction? I know you talk about focus all the time, but is this just not really exactly what you want to be dealing with? And the team, the players are going to be asked about it. It's an issue now for the whole team.
Yeah, no, you'd rather not be dealing with it, and you don't want the players to have to deal with it. But I think at the same token, it's I really do feel like for us and the players, it's a little bit of a non-issue because he's not here. I mean, he's in the building and he's doing what he can. But we also know we didn't have him last week. We're prepared not to have him. We're prepared not to have him this week, and that's just kind of how we roll. Really, no different than unfortunately, a guy who's injured, he's not going to play, he's going to be out. Then, man, we're about the guys who are going to play and getting them ready to go, and we don't bat an eye. How are those guys going to help us win the next game? And so I do feel like that's where we're at as a team. So I'm not. No, I'd rather not answer them. But at the same token, I don't feel like this is a big distraction.
The details that he told you, how did they match up with what's
Yeah, they lined up. They all lined up.
There's a common thread with his, 3 things. It's just not knowing the details or not following the details, and what do you do as an organization, I guess, to just make sure he's on his P's and Q's with not just football but life.
Yeah, you continue to coach him up on it, teach him, and let him know. It's a different environment, and you got to understand that you're looked at different, and you're viewed different, and anybody else out there, something happens, nobody even knows about it. It doesn't, whereas, man, they're looking, and any little thing can turn into a huge thing here. So you just got to do your best to stay out of those situations where something like this doesn't come up.
Transitioning to the football side, last 4 games, y'all scored 172 points. And in the Green Bay, how do you keep up that type of production? Obviously, it's tough to score that any game, but just that sort of production.
All right, so real quick, shout out to Eric for changing the topic, because you can see Coach was getting irritated, obviously, right, from answering these questions. But it sounds like from what I heard is the same thing that I've been echoing is, of course, Dan ain't going to be harder. He's not going to come down on him like in public like that, right? You got to make better decisions. You are looked at differently from a celebrity standpoint, and you're viewed differently by the public. Keep yourself out of the situations. That's all I was saying. That's literally all I was saying. And how is he going to stay out of these situations? To be coached up, to be taught. That's the same thing I was saying, right? Coaches, when I said his rope was running out, it had nothing to do with the Detroit Lions. It had everything to do with his NFL career. Because I guess it has something to do with the Lions, because they got to make a decision in a year whether or not they pick 6 months. We got to decide on his 5th-year option, which they will take. They're going to take that they would be stupid not to. But when it comes to the extensions, now we're having a different conversation. The person asked him, does he understand the severity that his NFL career could be over? And Dan Campbell kept it a buck. That's all I was saying. You know what I'm saying? I guess because I'm a black man and he's a black man, and you can't be critical of a black man. And I guess I can't talk about Brad Holmes or nobody else, but you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. You got to put yourself in better situations. That's all. And I think that coach and everything, sees that. So nobody giving up on J-Mo and turning it back, but you got to be smarter. But now the question is about trades now that Eric Woodyard is talking about.
Production in the group that you guys are in, how you guys keep that going forward?
Well, details, man. The details to what we do are important and really on all 3 phases, and that's where we've been pretty good. But offensively, certainly, man, that's where it begins. The effort that we're having, the production downfield, the guys that are blocking downfield for their teammates, like all of those things play into it. And so if those things start to slip, that's where you can get in trouble. Let me say this. This is a very good opponent, all right? Matt's done a hell of a job, continues to do a hell of a job. I think Jeff Hafley's a hell of a coach. I've known him for a little while now, but I think this defense is humming. Kenny Clark, I think, is an outstanding player. We know about Gary. I mean, I can go across the board. McKinney, Quay Walker, Alexander. I mean, they got players, and they're playing hard defensively. So it's a damn good defense, and we've kind of hit this patch of some really good defenses. And this is going to be no different. And over there offensively, man, they can control the clock. Jacobs he's a factor, man. This is a real dude. And then they've got really 6 receivers over there, and with Love pulling the trigger, and a gritty offensive line, they come off the ball. Tight ends playing well. So look, this is going to be this is a hell of a matchup. I mean, this is 2 big-time programs going at it at their place, and I'm looking forward to it. I know our guys are looking forward to it, but details, man, we got to be on the little things.
You were in the market for a backup
What about
quarterback.
you?
Thanks.
You were in the market for a backup quarterback a few years ago. Got a real nice up-close look at the Senior Bowl at Malik. Didn't really catch on in Tennessee, but he's kept them afloat in the NFC North race here. When you look at his film, you might see him this week. When you look at his film, where is he excelling? How much of that matches with what you saw potential-wise down in Mobile?
Yeah, scrambling. Man, he's a dangerous scrambler. That is where it begins for him. His ability to generate explosives, getting out of the pocket and taking off, man, that's where he's extremely dangerous. And to your point, they're at the end of the game, Jacksonville, man, they run the little sneaky out the backside to 11, who I think is arguably their best receiver. This guy's a playmaking dude, but finds him for a huge credit. I mean, that won the game. That one play right there did it, and the rest of it was just to end it out before the field goal. But it all starts with his legs. Very, very dangerous runner. Very good athlete. And so we'll be ready for whatever comes our way defensively.
So how is it different with one guy in there versus the other, if at all?
It's a little different, but they're going to lean on what they do well. They're not going to go away from that. That's kind of your bread and butter. That's your identity, and I think we're going to get. There'll be some wrinkles to it, but I think we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to get, no matter who's in there. And they're both very good athletes. They both can run. They can both create issues in the pocket. Certainly, Love as a passer is. And he does a great job of eyes downfield, giving his receivers a chance to make a play on the ball. He's just really grown and elevated since last year. I know there's been a few picks in there, but there's these other parts of his game playing the quarterback position that have really elevated. And so he's a top-notch dude.
Turnovers, third down, and red zone being so key to win and losing football games. You rank in the top 10 both offensively and defensively in all three categories. Can you speak to the way your guys have responded to kind of those 3 points of emphasis on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, we've done a good job of emphasizing and working it, and we're constantly coaching it up. We those are things we look at the next day in practice. We talk about, and you have to make an emphasis, and you have to have an urgency about yourself doing it and showing it. And it's why Meek got those two out last week. I mean, that takes effort. It takes detail. It takes effort. It takes, a conscious effort to do it. So, and same thing with ball security. We've been really good, man. We coach the hell out of it. We talk about it. Anybody's carrying it, even if it's a great run, it's a great play, man, we show it. I mean, Scotty gets up there and shows the offense. Man, it's a great run. Look at this. Ball is just flopping, and somebody's going to run behind with one finger and knock it out. So we're just constantly coaching it up, talking about it, and it's paying big dividends right now. I think we're plus 10 in the turnover ratio. It's huge. It's one of the reasons we're winning. It's number one of the reasons why everybody in our division is winning, because we're all really good turnover ratio right now, all four teams.
We've obviously focused on the pass rush aspect of your edge rushing situation, but there's a run game element to it as well. It seems like a lot of the runs you've given up, bigger runs in the last two games, have been against on the edges. How big is that concern as you move forward, given the last two games I think were the most rush yards you've given up in games this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we take note of, and we know that we're going to put in a good day's work there in the middle with our guys, and we got to be able to attack the perimeter, set edges, and let our backers flow and make plays. So, right now we keep hitting it up, and we'll be padding up tomorrow. We'll be bringing it, and that's the best way. You want to get better at it, you want to work on it, you got to work on it full speed, just like a game situation, and get some live reps at it. So we're going to keep doing that, because we know teams are going to keep attacking us that way.
You've played an opportunistic defense already when it comes to turnovers in Minnesota, but Green Bay leads the league in takeaways. How do they attack offenses from what you've been able to see?
Well, they're really good. Look, they're disruptive. They've changed their style from what they were last year, and it is more attack style. And these guys are up the field, and they cause a lot of disruption. They have, and that's one element to it. The other is they got players, man, that can do that. Is, you know, like I say, Kenny, he's a force in the middle, and Gary humming off the edge. They've got really a two-deep rotation, a D-line that are pretty damn good. And so that's one element of it. And then when you got a guy like McKinney, who's, man, he's instinctive, really good ball skills, can see it, feel it. You know, he's got 6 picks right now. So you get in the quarterback's face and cause him to make a throw he shouldn't, and it's just a little bit off, but that guy's going to make you pay. You know, and we already talked about what they got on the back end. Jair is pretty good. You know, he can lock down guys. And then they're getting some of these punch outs too. You know, they're making active effort to go after the football, and they are an opportunistic defense. This thing's gonna come down to one critical error. You know, it's gonna go down to the fourth quarter, the very end. Whoever makes one error is gonna lose this game.
Today, Dan.
Pascal won't practice. Trying to think of who else. I'm going to hold some guys out today just for recovery. Rodrigo will not practice today. TBD. Yeah, TBD. Okay.
All right, so if you heard about Josh Pascal, I got it spoiled for me on Twitter. Plus, I knew we were behind. So Pascal has not practiced all week. Neither has Malcolm Rodriguez. Rodriguez will probably be out. That's kind of already been determined, but we'll know on Friday for sure. Pascal, game time decision. Well, not game time, but to be determined. So he could be out again come Friday. So that means that we'll have another elevation from probably Mohammed, and I think Mohammed will get elevated. I don't think Uku does. Will we see Agude? I have no idea. Don't forget Isaiah Thomas is on the active roster. But before we get off, I will do one more segment, and that is about Trey Hendrickson. So let's do this, and then we'll wrap the video up, the live stream. I appreciate y'all. I gotta do something at 3 o'clock, at 3:30. So I got to make sure that my son is good to go, man. Something involving. He's basically transferring to homeschool. So we got to go and meet with the principal person. Anyway. All right, let me pop this back out so I can see you guys, and we'll go from there. All righty. Pull this. Where we at? Here. Let me get that off there. Go here and here. All right. So a lot of Detroit Lions fans want particular players when it comes to the pass rusher position. Now, there's a guy I've been talking about a long time, made a video over 6 months ago when he wanted to be traded from his current team, the Cincinnati Bengals. His name is Trey Hendrickson. The Cincinnati Bengals may not want to part with him. That's the thing. They're that one team that always thinks they have a chance. And right now they do. They do. They could easily be, no wins. They could easily have more wins than they do. But right now they sit at 3-5. Joe Burrow said that they can win. He believes they could win 7 of the next 9, which will put them at 10-7. But will that be enough to get them into the playoffs? The NFL did something which is super cool. They've got the percentages of teams that can make the playoffs. And the reason that we're doing this video is to see if Trey Hendrickson could be available as we get closer to the trade deadline. Is that what Brad Holmes is waiting on? Maybe there is a deal in place, or maybe he's looking at Zadarius Smith and others, but maybe he wants to just hold on just a little while longer because he will have 2 days after the games on Sunday to make his final decision. Could he be waiting to see what happens with the Cincinnati Bengals? Now, this is where it gets interesting. Over the past 5 years, the Cincinnati Bengals are that team. They start slow, they finish strong. They're having a tough time this year. One of the reasons is because they don't have DJ Reader, in my opinion. Their defense is not what it used to be. And Trey Hendrickson is basically the best player on their defense right now. So if the Cincinnati Bengals, they got a real tough decision to make because he wanted to be traded. His value is going to decrease every single game. Then they'll be stuck with him if they don't move him at the trade deadline. And then next year, he'll be on an expiring contract. So, or they could just keep him, hold him hostage, franchise tag him, and keep him for the next 2 years. Or they could extend him. He wants an extension. They didn't give it to him. I feel like it could be a little bit of bad blood there, that they were willing to, they didn't honor his needs or his wants. So maybe they do ship him out and try to get what they can for him in the meantime. But let's take a look at the current standings for the Cincinnati, for, the NFL playoffs. Now, your Detroit Lions, first seed, which is super cool. I think that this is going to be this is going to be the Super Bowl. It's going to be Chiefs, Lions. I think it's going to be either the Texans are going to upset the Chiefs or the Lions are going to beat them in the Super Bowl. It's going to be one or the other. But this will be a matchup, too, because neither team has been to the Super Bowl. So after this, it would only be two teams, the Browns and Jags, that have never been to a Super Bowl, which would be crazy. It's going to be weird when it go down, because eventually it's going to go down from 4 to 2, and then those two fan bases have to deal with that. All right, so let's go and see where are the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's where it gets kind of sticky, right? If they lose, right now they sit at 3-5, as we discussed earlier. If they lose, their current playoff probability is 28%. Look at this. It only goes up 5% with the win, but if they lose, it drops 13%. Goes from 28 to 15. This is when they'll have to make that decision. So shout out to the NFL for giving us this graphic. I think this is a big deal. Now, can they run the table? This is just a percentage based off whatever math they're using, right? 15% if they lose. They do play the Raiders, who have 0%. They're done. They don't really have 0%, but they're done. Why did they? What is this about? I actually love this logo. I'm not a fan of the colors, though. But I love this guy with the pirate and the dagger in his mouth. Super cool. Now, here's where it gets sticky. If you're the Detroit Lions and you want Trey, and if you're the Cincinnati Bengals and you might want to ship Trey or keep Trey. This is their remaining schedule. It is very AFC North heavy. That'd be crazy if Trey went from the AFC North to the NFC North. All right. But just got blew back by the Eagles. This game here, this might be the deal breaker, but then again, it might not. Right. So now we go to after this game. Now it's the trade deadline. So let's say you win this game. Now you're 4-5. You don't move Trey. Here you go. Right. So then you have the Baltimore Ravens. They beat you. Shouldn't have beat you, but they beat you earlier in the year. So let's say you win this game, you go to 4-5. Now you lose this game, you go to 4-6. Then you got the Chargers. That could go either way. Let's give you that game. Let's say you go to 5-6, your bye week. So you come out of your bye week, down the home stretch. You are 5-6. You are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you are at home. This game could go either way. The Pittsburgh Steelers, man, they play teams hard. So put it in the comment section. Should we give them this win? They either can be 6-6 at this point or 5-7. The Dallas Cowboys, they probably will win that game. So now you're talking about, see what I see? I'm seeing 500. This is a win. So now you're talking Cleveland Browns. I don't know. They play teams tough. Denver Broncos, and then they end with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it could come down to a thing where this team is looking to get into the playoffs. So at this point, for me, it is a decision of whether or not the Cincinnati Bengals, feel like they can go all the way, because you got to think about it. Right now, they are out of the playoffs. So before we do that, let's go back and look at the playoff picture. What teams are they realistically going to unseat if they don't win the division? All right. So let's give the division to the Chiefs, the Texans, the Steelers, and the Bills. Okay. Could they played the Broncos? I thought I saw the Broncos on here. They play them. So the Broncos, the Ravens, the Chargers. If they could go on a run and unseat all of these teams. So that's the thing. If they lose, though, and they're 3-6, they could be tempted to trade Trey Hendrickson. So I think if they would have lost one of these games, like and been sitting at 2-6 right now instead of 3-5, I think no matter what happens this game, I think 3-6 they move on, because that it's going to come down to one game, and it might come down to the Broncos game. I mean, right now they still have to play the Pittsburgh Steelers twice. So right now, they're in play for the division. So I don't know. So it depends. I think it's going to come down to whether or not really the Bengals want to recoup as much as possible for Trey, because they will not get as much as they will get this year if they wait till next year. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And with that being said, that is the show, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I appreciate y'all for rocking. Appreciate you for, tuning in to the show. And yeah, we got big things coming. I'm glad Dan Campbell talked about Jameson Williams. I don't plan to talk about him anymore because it's just, that's it. That's it. Dan said what he said, and I could come back and change my mind and bring in Dan Campbell's press conference footage of talking about him and go from there. But I don't know. We'll see. Because I feel like, I don't know, man. People are just quick to throw stones when it's like, yo, I don't live in a glass house, right? So I've got my fair share of mistakes, but eventually the point that I was making is when he's running out of rope, could his career be over? Dan Campbell said, I think he understands that. So we're going to see. Anyway, appreciate you guys. I will see you on Friday. Thank you for rocking, and thank you for supporting Nick yesterday with his show. I will catch you guys in over on Lion Syndicate. Peace.
Hello, good morning. Horns is blowing, and I'm pissing off the neighbors. Whether home grown or imported, we feeling shorted, cause we waiting on our paper. So next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah, you don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the motor city, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the motor city, everything ain't pretty, but it's love though. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah.